Alright, it's been a while since I last recorded a video, and I kind of wanted to get this out of the way now, everything, the dust has settled, so, I feel like I can like, just talk about how I feel about the game without having to worry about spoilers or anything, and outright, I'm just gonna say it, SMT5 was a disappointing game. So, I don't know, where do I even start? I guess the gameplay, the open world vastness and whatnot, it was good. I'm not really a big fan of open world games, shit like Genshin Impact, Breath of the Wild, you know, those are not my type of games. I usually find them really boring to play, and 5 being that was made the game a little bit not entertaining, but it was still fun. Well, I don't think I didn't really have too much fun, but I wasn't really like necessarily bored either, because they're also like the overworld encounters. They just felt longer than they usually have to be. Maybe I'm just too used to like the fast-paced quickness of like N4 and Apocalypse. Hell, even SMT3 random encounters felt faster, but I just couldn't with SMT5. I'd always usually avoid random encounters or encountering demons, and the only time I'd actually ever fight them is if I either would pick up an item and it happens to be a Mitama, or if I'm actively looking for a Mitama, because I feel like there was no real reason to actually negotiate with demons, kind of the staple of the series. And just because you can how would I say it, fuse new demons from like the world of shadows, so there was like no real need for me to ever waste time out there, hunting demons or whatever. And that kind of leads on to my next point, that the game was too easy, because there's not only, well, let me not mention the DLC just yet, because so there's these Matamas, right, you can find in the overworld, and they give you like glory experience and whatnot, basically, the cheat items, and they were like, I felt like they were pretty common even without the DLC. All the DLC just does is increase their like spawn rate, and it's just, without them the game just felt really easy. And to another point I mentioned earlier, that there was no real need to actually what's it called, interact with demons, because you could just make everything from just the world of shadows. Like, I think all you needed was really money, and that's it. Like, the whole Capendulum was available to you, like if you were at a decent enough level. And yeah, the game just felt really easy, especially considering like the Magatsuhi meter. That one, oh my, the Magatsuhi meter was kind of a useless feature, because personally, throughout my playthroughs of the game, I never had to change it from critical. So that, I feel like that's like the old, like, there's no real incentive to actually change it and go out of your way, unless you're doing like some funny gimmick or fight or whatever, like I guess the Demi Fiend. Oh, what else? I don't know. Maybe to be honest, I kind of miss Smirk a little, because it would at least make the game not challenging, but it kind of added to it. It kind of made the boss fights, a little bit more fun. Speaking of boss fights, they also drag out a lot as well, and I hate the fact that they're just given 2 turns. So for the most part, if you just block or drain or whatever one of their moves, they just never act again, and you're pretty much always in control. And I really did not like that, because at least in 4, in Apocalypse, they get like at least 3-4 turns, and the boss fights would actually feel like boss fights, and I just had a better time playing 4. And it's just 5, difficulty wise, was too easy. And don't even get me started on like having to fight Shiva for the true neutral ending, because you have to be like level 99 at least, or are up like level 90, level 99. And the thing is, even if you play on hard, the end game bosses are only like level 85, which I'm pretty sure is just, it's just so dumb, because at that point you could just blitz through the game. And on my first playthrough, I got the bad neutral ending, I guess you could call it, and it just, And after I beat Visuki or whoever that was, after I beat him, I saw the pillar, I mean the location thing to go to Shiva, and I was like, oh cool, you know. And then I thought Shiva was like the next boss, so I grinded up to level 99, and then I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do this, because then I learned he was a super boss and he was optional. So I went to go fight the other guys, the final bosses, like, you know, Abdiel and Tsukiyomi or whatever his name was. And that was a breeze. Oh my, like it was so easy to make demons broken too, like with essence fusion. And you know, what was the other one that boosts their like elemental type attacks? That made the game easy. The game was just overall a disappointing when it comes to difficulty factor, because I always play SMT games for like the enjoyment of fighting boss fights, but in this game it's just not what I want. It's not what I like. So already the gameplay department, a failure for me personally. Now the story, I'm not gonna repeat what everybody has said, you know, how bad it is in the characters. I'll just say that they were just as disappointing. Dazai, the only character who actually got a bit of a character arc, ended up what's it called? He was doing good, but because of the pacing and the story and whatnot, it just didn't work. So what's it called? Yeah, and then if it weren't for the hat scene, I think he would be a decent character, but yo, these characters do not help the barely existent plot, you know? So that's another disappointment. The characters. Oh, there was also this scene with like Aogami. He was coming out of like a green tank, and that never went anywhere. Tao was a disappointment. Her death was like so stupid. Sahori, you know, you could feel a bit sympathetic for her, but then you know, it's whatever. That Fion guy, what's it called? He didn't do anything. I'm pretty sure he was also hyped up in the trailer or whatever, but he didn't do anything either. It was just the only time I ever got invested into the story was like the near end when they were all at the Imperium. I was like, oh, you know, finally shit's about to go down, but that's about it. You know, it was pretty much like the last 2 hours of the game where, you know, I got excited for it, and it's just like, you know. And then once you got the ending, since I got the true bad ending, like the beginning, I don't know, I just wasn't satisfied. I just, you know, you see the main character running or, you know, walking to like the sun or whatever. I honestly don't know what the hell was going on at the end, the last cutscene, but it just didn't feel satisfactory. And then when I learned that it was the same for all the endings, I just, you know, it just wasn't cool. I just wasn't satisfied. So the ending / story characters department, another disappointment. Now the music is subjective, but like I don't know. The music was alright. It's not no SMT4 or Apocalypse or SMT3 or Soul Hackers, Digital Devil. It's not none of that, but it's alright. The map theme was boring. That has some decent like dungeon music, and by some I mean like Fairy Forest and I guess Shinagawa. That's it. That's it. The battle music was okay. I still don't get the hype between monsters, demons, and humans. That demon, whatever. That garbage song is still trash. Oh, speaking of the music, it would feel so repetitive at times too, considering how long the boss fights would be. So I feel like that also has to play into a factor of like my disenjoyment with this game. It was just not fun. It's just horrible. And the thing with SMT5, I feel like, is it really has no heart, because oh my god, with SMT5, well, I guess reincarnation isn't a story prompt or whatever, because like, or you know, how would I say it, a theme in the game? Because in SMT4, I guess you could say reincarnation is kind of a thing, you know, that's supposed to be represented in the story of 4. Because dude, alright, you know what, never mind. But the point is, SMT5 does not have hidden gems, hidden dialogue, hidden nothing. Because in SMT4, you know, there's an example where you go to when you first arrive to the Ueno district, you know how there's like that homeless man who's like, oh hey, let me give you a tour guide or whatever. and then he's like, "Don't worry about the tour fee or whatever," and then he steals like somebody's money. And I don't know if people know this, but the dialogue is always different. You know, Walter is like, "Oh man, how could he? I was saving up $100 or 100 maka," and then Isabel's like, "Oh, he stole 1,000,000 maka from me. Has he no manners or whatever?" And I'm not even sure if there's a Jonathan like centric dialogue, and I'm still on my 7th cycle and I have never seen it, so it probably doesn't exist, but it probably does, and I still don't know. So, and then there's like when you name the terminal when you first discover it, I think it's called Sky Terminal. That's the terminal in Sky, and the dialogue is different. Like you get characters different reactions, and you know it's small little details like that that are missing from 5 because the characters are so it's just non-existent in the game. And I really like the details like that. It shows that, you know, the creators put effort and like thought into it, but it's really disappointing, especially considering comparing 4 to or 5 to 4. And the reason I do that, the reason I compare SMT 5 to 4, not because they're only like, you know, the games that came out right after each other, excluding Apocalypse, but it's just that SMT4 in general opened up, like, how would I say it? The way I view things, the way I experience things, you know, things I enjoy. SMT4 was, it's like my first game in the series that, and it set like the standard for me. I can't play JRPGs or any video game without it having like an interesting world, an awesome soundtrack. What else? All that type of shit, like gameplay wise, you know, I've been playing shit like Xenoblade Chronicles. That game is boring. The combat's horrible. The music's okay. I don't like the, you know, the medieval fantasy setting. What else? Octopath Traveler, you know, another medieval game. The game, you know, its combat system is pretty cool though. It's similar to press turn, but it's not. And you know, it's just SMT4 in general just like set the standard for me. So to see 5s being the next big entry in the series be a disappointment, it just has me feeling a certain type of way. And finally, when it comes to SMT5, I've mentioned earlier that I find the true, like the neutral bad ending, and in that one you don't get to fight Lucifer. So when I was thinking about it, it reminded me of how I got the white ending in 4. I was like, oh, there is no way this game is actually gonna have the main character go through with this plan. So I was kind of expecting like a cliche, like, oh, they stopped the main character before making like the worst decision ever. So when I saw Flynn actually, you know, the universe get deleted, I was in shock. I was like, no way this game actually did that. And that's what, like, I was like, okay, cool, I have to play this game again to see what happens next time I don't decide to delete the universe. And I found out that there was so much content left I missed, and like, you know, dialogue options that, oh, that Isabel fight, oh my god, that was like peak fiction right there, peak SMT. And so when I was reminded of like my experience with SMT4 in that segment, and to learn that all I missed out was like a Lucifer fight, and even then the Lucifer fight itself was not fun, it was not good, it was boring, and it was like, it was just like some, alright, it was boring and a disappointment. So there is also that, you know, SMT5, I feel like the only good thing it did was look pretty, and that's it. And it's a shame it's like a lot of people's first SMT game, because I wish, it's just a disappointment that, you know, it's the first game people will experience in the franchise, because it's not, how would I say it, the franchise's best, you know. If I were to like recommend a person to play an SMT game like it's their first time ever, it would either be Digital Devil Saga or SMT4, because those are like the best ways to start SMT, and 5 just lacks everything that makes SMT good, you know. So there is also that in mind. And honestly, it's just, you know, it's overall SMT5 was a disappointment. And yeah, I mean, I think I made my point pretty clear. I just, such a shame, really. I got hyped, I got the premium edition, the soundtrack and all that, but hopefully they should just do an HD remaster of Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2, you know, do us a favor. And yeah, I mean, that pretty much does it for this video. Hopefully this doesn't seem like I just rambled on without any good points, but yeah, see you guys next time.